Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Spinistry Chat 2021 Lockhart Breaker Edition. We will try to make this as quick as possible. Basically, we're just going to do a quickie overview of event day layout for parking and check-in and all that good stuff, and just some route overview and notes and details along those lines. We will try to keep this as brief as possible. That said, 100 milers, definitely stick around and hear the notes that we talk about your route specifically. We'll go over the whys and wherefores of that shortly. First off, let's talk about check-in for each of the distances. So basically, based on the start time for your distance, 45 minutes prior to that start time is when your check-in will open. So 6:45 a.m. for the 100 milers, 7:45 a.m. for the 65 plus milers, 8:15 a.m. for the 45 plus milers, and 8:45 a.m. check-in for the beginner riders. Hopefully that is simple enough to understand. And what we're going to do now is just go over our we're going to go ahead and go over our event layout. We're at the Lockhart City Park. We have both of these pavilions by the city pool. There's a pavilion over here, and there's a pavilion here on the south end. And more than likely, this main south pavilion is going to be our primary pavilion where we do staging and everything this year. In years past, we've usually used this one. We're going to probably primarily focus on the other one, but we have both. There are restrooms here. Be aware, I'm assuming for the ladies as well. I definitely in the gentleman's restroom. It is an open door policy restroom. Be aware of that. If you need to take care of serious business, you may want to do it before getting there. And I believe there are other restrooms just over here. And I'm moving this around. So the parking area right by our pavilions, this will be only for the 100 milers. 100 milers get there about 6:45 or so, and then we're going to close off this parking lot. Because basically the 100 milers are going to be the first to get there and the last to leave, so there won't be cars going in and out while racers are trying to finish in here. So this will be 100 milers only. Everyone else, there's a lot of parking right over here across the road, more parking here, and basically all around the park along the roadways. But in years past, this area over here by the school and the ball fields has taken care of all of our parking needs. So again, 100 milers only and staff in the parking area right here. The current plan is all of the races will finish. There's a sidewalk area here off the road. We're going to put a finisher chute here that comes into the pavilion and the timing arch. This is not intended for sprint finishes. This is not intended for sprint finishes. Get your racing done out on the course. We'll talk more about that in the racers meeting. All right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and go over the 100-mile route, but it's also going to go over aspects of most of the shorter distances as well. And then we're going to definitely talk about some of the particulars that are the idiosyncrasies for the 100 milers. And then we'll touch on the other routes standalone by themselves, but most of those details will be covered in the global overview of the 100-miler route. Again, because we do share routes as much as possible. So everybody starts and finishes essentially the same way. And this is pretty straightforward here. It's the way we've always done it, out of the city park, wind by the gravel pit, but past the cemetery, and start catching our dirt roads. This year, all of the routes go up towards the little tiny metropolis crossroads of Dale. all of the routes will do this. There is actually a convenience store here at about mile 11. If anybody forgot a Gatorade or a pickle or something like that, you can stop at the store there in Dale. About mile 13 and a half, you do have about a mile stretch on Highway 20. Not a very high traffic road, but it is a high speed road and it is a straight shot, so everyone be aware of that. Again, at this point, all of the routes are sharing the same sections. About mile 16, we finalized routes today. There was a plotting error here that has been corrected. Ride with GPS actually had us plotted up on this private driveway up in here for all of the routes. That has been adjusted. If you didn't download the adjusted routes, please don't go up on a private driveway. Okay? Just before mile 17, this is where the 29 milers split off. We'll talk more about that later, but from mile 17 on, everyone but the 29 miler is sharing the same route. Have another farm to market road stretch here on Highway 86. A little bit of a shoulder here. Again, not much traffic, but it is a high-speed road. The one thing to be aware of, when you make this left going towards Wizardville, the Wizardville Hall area, going down Wizardville Road, there is a slight hump in the road behind you here. So just be super safe. There's a shoulder off to the right. Go ahead and pause and look behind you before you cross the road there for your turn. There's another general store here at about mile 21. And, man, I thought I fixed this. I'm going to fix it again. Well, here's an example of a map error that Ride with GPS had with us. If you just follow the route, you'll go where you want to, but it tells you to make this turn and turn around. I'll try to fix that again. I thought I had already fixed that. So a little remnant there, at least on the 102 miler. And about mile 25 and a half will be the first water table for the 47, 68, and 102 milers. They'll all share this water table here. And everybody takes the same route till about mile 31. And the 47 milers will actually take this little dog leg here and shortcut back the rest of the route. The 68 and 102 milers go down here, and they have the same route to this water table split. So we have a water table here for both the 68 and the 102 milers, and this is actually a lollipop section. So the 102 milers will come to this water table twice. And let's zoom out a little bit and show you the lollipop. 102 milers that are using Garmin's, please pay attention to this. Garmin's hate when routes cross over each other and double back on each other and everything like that. So it's on you to either know how you're supposed to navigate the course if your Garmin goes haywire, or how to set your Garmin settings so it doesn't go haywire. I'm not a Garmin expert, so I'm not going to be the one to tell you how to set those settings up. Here's the easy way to remember this. Once you come down this south road of the lollipop, think of it as the lollipop stick. Basically, you're going left turns from that point on. So if you ever come to an intersection and your Garmin's not telling you which way to go, and it's a crisscross of the routes, take the left turn. And then you're back on track. You'll make a right turn here, but there's no crisscross. You'll come to a crisscross, make another left turn, and you're just following it again. And we're going to zoom in on this section here in a bit, but let's finish the route first. And then you'll come to this crisscross section, take your left again, and you are doubling up back on the lollipop stick, back out, and take a left back to the water table. And that's your final water table. Also down here around mile 66 are a couple of convenience stores, a Buc-ee's, a Love's, some hotels if you just need to call it a day, or whatever else. An actually pretty straightforward finish from there. So that water table that you go by twice 100 milers. That's the last water table stop. There is also down here, the route goes by the state park. We do not have a water table here. We're just saying that there's a state park there, also an elk camp and an RV. So if you need a splash of water, there's some there, but just a few miles and you're to the Buc-ee's and things like that. So for the 102 milers, we're going to zoom in on this section here and go to the aerial / satellite view. Sometimes this kind of mucks up our video feed. Hopefully it doesn't this time. I'm going to pause for a second or two and let everything feed in, and hopefully my audio doesn't cut out, and hopefully we're able to tell our story here. We're going to zoom in tighter. Actually, we're going to do a couple things. Mile 65. You're on 183, but you have a very wide shoulder. Mile 65, you're going to take a right and to what shows as a road closed, but there's just bollards there and a trail that goes around the bollards, and it's no problem for a bicycle to get on this road and get off of 183 for a short stretch. Catch the access road here and go by Buc-ee's and Love's Travel Stop. Now here's what I want the 102 milers to pay super close attention to. And I'm going to repeat it just in case it did my audio glitch here. Here's what I want the 102 milers to pay super close attention to. After you cross under I-10, you're on 183 going by the Love's Travel Stop. There is a traffic light right here, and you are to turn into the Best Western parking lot and then just follow the route, and there's an old bridge here. It's a pedestrian / bicycle bridge now. No vehicular traffic is allowed, so you'll have it all to yourself, so that you're not riding the 183 bridge across Plum Creek. You're taking the old bridge, and that'll take you out on the other side of the new bridge, and you have about 100-yard section here. Most of it is shouldered, where you may have to either ride against traffic on the shoulder for 100 yards or less, or there's also a fairly steep bank there. If you're not comfortable with that and you want to go down the bank, you can do that, and then you'll cross back under the bridge at the Plum Creek crossing there. So if anyone had questions about the safety of 183 right there, well, that's the whole point. We're avoiding the 183 traffic. Just this one short stretch where you're on the shoulder. If you want to be legal and cross the road and ride the shoulder the right way, you're welcome to do that. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. All right, so hopefully that outlined all of that. We'll glance at the 68 miler, see if there's anything that jumps out at us there that we didn't already go over. Pretty sure we went over all of that. Let's see if that one did take that little artifact out of there. And we'll look at the 47 miler. That one's fixed and working properly now. All good there. And let's do the 39 or 30 miler. We're actually calling it the 29 miler now. We'll talk about it during the racers and riders meetings. I just want the beginners to see exactly how their route works, because theirs is a little bit different from everyone else's. Your whole route is basically a lollipop. So you're gonna go out and come back basically the same 9 miles of your roughly 30 miles. Will be the same coming and going. You'll have this loop at the end, and there's some really nice riding on this. I think you guys are really going to like this. Again, there is a convenience store here at about mile 11. At just before mile 17 is where you will be splitting off to the right, and everyone else will be going straight. It is marked, and we'll talk about that again in the riders and racers meeting. There's also a Dollar General store right here at about just short of mile 20. Let's see if that even shows. Yeah, it doesn't even show there. It looked like it was pretty brand new. So there's a Dollar General there. So we're not going to have a water table on the 29-mile route, but there is the Dollar General and the store in Dale as well. So that's the quickie overview. Oh, actually, let's touch on the weather. Weather forecast is getting better for us by the hour. It looks like the rain is definitely holding off until mid-afternoon, and that's a high maybe. I think they're expecting the rains to be further south. Realistically, most of the riders should be done by the time any chance of rain, except for some 100-milers that may be a little further south when the rains come through. So 100-milers, be aware of the possibility of rain. The roads they're dry and dusty right now. You could see where the fields they'd had a good amount of rain down here recently. Fields are wet, ditches are holding some water. There's a few puddles that are holding water and things like that. My guess is if we were to get rain, that it could still flood the roadways and creeks and things like that. The ground looks fairly saturated, so if there's significant rain, be aware of any low water crossings could have rushing water. But at the moment, it doesn't look like we have a high probability of rain, nor if the rain does come, are they expecting a tremendous amount. So that's the quickie overview. We'll talk more about it in the racers meeting. Thank you all for joining us with Spinistry Chat.